Welcome to with Nobise. Welcome to Johnny and Nobise World History video. And Johnny and Nobise. Johnny and Nobise. The old school way of thinking. We are going to get into the lesson of today's topic. Today's topic is about Egyptian warriors and Greek mythology. So as we start, there are some things I will point out in this clip to make you learn about the world history, how it happened way back in a few years ago in ancient times. Ancient warfare started since. So let's get into the topic and we're going to check out how it's all started. The Egyptian warrior. Right. Now let's talk about the Wikipedia. Let's go into the Wikipedia. Some things about Egypt. Right. Military. Now the title says Military of Ancient Egypt. The fragment of New Kingdom wall relief. Displaying archers with their bows. Ancient Egypt was the ancient civilization of Eastern North Africa, with cultivated all of the northern reaches of the Nile River in Egypt. The civilization coalesced around 3150 BC with the political inflammation of the Upper and Lower Egypt. Under the first pharaoh, and it developed over the next 3 millennia. Its history occurred in the series of stable kingdoms separated by periods of liberty, established known as appropriate the periods. Ancient Egypt reached its pinnacle during the New Kingdom, after which it entered the period slow decline. Egypt is conquered, whatever the name is, by the cession of the foreign powers. In the late period, the rule of the 15th efficiently ended in 31 BC when the early Roman Empire converted Egypt and made it a province. Through the Egypt military forces in the Old and the Middle Kingdoms were well maintained, and the new farm emerged in the New Kingdom, showed to the state becoming more organized to serve its needs. For most parts of long history, ancient Egypt is effort under the one government. The main military concern for the nation was to keep enemies out and arid plains, the deserts surrounding Egypt, and habitat with the Nile tribes who actually tried to raid and settle third Nile River Valley. Nevertheless, the great impotence, the great expansions of the desert formed in the barrier that protected the river valley, and was almost impossible for massive armies to cross. The Egyptians built fortresses and outposts along the very borders east and west of the Nile Delta and the western desert and the eastern desert. In the Nobise of the south, small Garius sons would prevent the minor concerns. But if a large force was dedicated, a message was sent to the main army corps. Most Egyptian cities lacked city of walls for defense or other defenses. The history of ancient Egypt is divided in 3 kingdoms to accommodate pyramids. During the 3 kingdoms, Egypt was affirmed under the one government. During the Ptolemaic pyramids, the periods of the time between kingdoms, government control was the hand of the various lords provides within Egypt in various forms. The geography of Egypt served to associate and the country allowed it to thrive. The circumstance set the stage of many Egypt military crises. They have enabled their enemies by using small project weapons like boreals and aerials. They also had chariots within they used to charge at the enemy. The Old Kingdom 2181 BC. Mom? You all want to stop right now? Oh. Okay. I don't think we have bread. Do we? Okay.
Alright. I'm coming over.
Okay, guys. So they're talking about the periods of time in ancient Egypt. Where did this all come from? Egypt. So they made a lot of weapons to get ready for a battle in ancient Egypt. This was kind of this is kind of a challenging to one of the civilizations. I wouldn't say the civilizations, but the warriors that built these weapons back in the day. That was many millions of years ago. In the year they mainly thought about it. It was 31 something BC. The 3150 BC where they were getting upper at first, then lower of the periods of time. But that's what I was thinking, and maybe they was almost having another conflict. It was just like the Greeks. But for my understanding, I don't know nothing about the history of Egypt yet, but I have studied a little bit of Egyptian history when I was young, and I wanted to know again about Egypt. We're going to be watching a clip how it all started. We're going to be watching a documentary how it all started, when they built these weapons and when they did it for times. They built it for many years before war, before conflict. So we're going to be watching a very clip about it. So the Egyptian way.
Where you see the passing of time.
Crowds in Sophia Square are praying like mad for the Patriarch.
Where moments refuse to die.
This is a momentous hour in world history. This is the invasion of Hitler's Europe.
And where victory lives on.
Plenty of girls are being kissed by plenty of boys they don't know, and they do not care.
You can love it, hate it, embrace it, or turn away.
Lenin was shot to death late last night outside his apartment building.
But it is a past we all share.
Come on out here and give me a salute. Big baby salute.
This is where yesterday has a home, where we wonder what it was like back then.
Go forward, knights, in safety.
And not too long ago.
His spirit must live on.
It's where history has its place, and where the past comes alive. The History Channel.
Like these have been making history since the beginning of time, banding together to do battle against a common
centuries, men have been leaving their homes and marching off to combat. Soldiers, in the prime of life, joining their colleagues in arms for glory, God, country, or maybe just the spoils of war. For some, it was the highlight of their lives, the chance to leave the innocent days of youth behind and become a cog in a powerful, well-oiled machine.
He was ancient Egypt's greatest warrior. A soldier who never lost a battle. A general who rivaled the great conquerors of history. A king who transformed his nation into an empire.
Okay, ancient Egypt.
With the help of new evidence and forensic analysis, we can finally reveal the secrets of his military genius, of the inner demons that drove him. This is the amazing story of Thutmose III, Egypt's Napoleon.
This was their nation.
Thebes, the capital of ancient Egypt. More than 3,000 years ago, it's the year
Like they were built out of
1457 BC.
stones.
Queen
Stones and
Hatshepsut
sand.
has died after bringing peace and prosperity to the land for 20 years. But she's not just any queen. She's a queen who ruled as king. Some Egyptians mourn her passing. Others rejoice, saying she exercised far too much power for a woman. Hatshepsut's peaceful rule came at a price. At her death, Egypt faces enemies at the borders. Rebellious city-states, Syrians and Canaanites, all eager to test the courage of the new leader. Her stepson, Thutmose III, is now poised to take control. He'd been pharaoh for nearly 20 years, but Queen Hatshepsut had kept him under her thumb. Now, in his 20s, he can finally realize his own ambition for a bold new empire. One that's very different from his stepmother's. But Thutmose is unproven as a king and a warrior. Nobody knows if he can overcome Egypt's enemies, or if he can step out from his stepmother's shadow and seize the moment. He immediately prepares himself and his men for war. "3,500 years later, Thutmose rests in a glass case in the Cairo Museum, with a faint hint of a smile across his mummified face, the face of an uncommon warrior and empire builder.
This mummy is one of the most important men on earth. This man was a warrior. The military academy today is still study what this man did. And that's why I feel when I look at him, I tremble. I tremble because of the power of this man, that he was really established the empire of Egypt.
Archaeologists first unwrapped Thutmose and decoded his exploits in the late 19th century. French archaeologist Gaston Maspero examined the damage from head to toe.
His head is broken off at the neck. His body and all four limbs have been detached. The feet and arms broken into fragments.
Maspero knew these weren't the injuries of war. It was damage done by the usual suspects. Tomb raiders.
Robbers tore the mummy of Thutmose III out of his coffin. They stripped it and rifled it of its jewels.
Not long after the find, Egyptologists dubbed Thutmose the Napoleon of Egypt. Like Napoleon, he knew how to lead fighting men and showed an unquenchable thirst for territory. And, like the French emperor, he conquered. But Napoleon suffered terrible defeats and reversals, while Thutmose never lost a single battle. Yet the grinning, ravaged mummy doesn't tell us anything about Thutmose, or the passions that drove him. While he doesn't speak, maybe his tomb will. The Valley of Kings, the eternal resting place of many of Egypt's greatest pharaohs. Here, Dr. Ian Shaw, expert in ancient hieroglyphics, will read the walls and tell us something about the man who built it.
For me, the most amazing thing about this tomb is just the sheer freshness and the immediacy of it.
The tomb walls tell us that Thutmose was far more than a man of war.
Thutmose III appreciated things of beauty in a way, and who was not simply a soldier or not simply somebody who happened to be born in the right royal household. This was somebody who had the education to be able to actually transform certain aspects of his own culture. Up here I can see the king himself. The reference here is to the death of the king and his transformation really into a version of the sun god.
The walls include magician spells that will help him reach the afterworld. Pharaohs like Thutmose believed they were more than kings. They were gods, destined for immortality. But here on Earth, a young Thutmose may have been less than godlike. He was born into a world dominated by his stepmother. Hatshepsut was the chief wife of his father, the pharaoh. Thutmose's birth mother occupied a minor place in his father's harem. She didn't have royal blood, and Hatshepsut did. Some speculate that even while his father, pharaoh, was living, his stepmother's son much power. When his father died, Thutmose became heir to the throne, but he was still a young child, so Hatshepsut governed as regent in his place. And she had her own ambitions. She sent explorers to distant lands, imported oils, incense, perfumes, and gold. She commissioned great temples and monuments, and after 10 years, she did the unthinkable. She crowned herself pharaoh. No queen had ever done such a thing before, especially when a rightful heir was alive. She dressed as a king, wore male clothes, and the traditional false beard of the pharaoh. She depicted herself as a man in carvings and reliefs. For the conservative nation of Egypt, her behavior was an outrage. Under her rule, Egypt avoided war for over 2 decades. But avoiding war was costly. Rebel city-states seized territories from the Egyptians along their northern border. With his stepmother exercising so much authority, Thutmose had to find another outlet for his talent. He turned to the military. He became a soldier and commander, leaving the comforts and the politics of the royal court behind. He trained as a warrior, biding his time. Then, in 1458 BC, Hatshepsut died. No one knows the cause of her death.
What? Wow.
It remains one of the unsolved mysteries of ancient Egypt. Thutmose immediately took control. He believed that his new Egypt needed more than just a pharaoh. It needed a commander-in-chief who would risk his life on the front lines and lead the charge in battle. To quell the uprising on his northern border, he advanced with some 20,000 troops into Palestine. It was the first of 17 military campaigns to assert his dominance in the region. He expanded the empire, both north into Syria and south along the Nile into Nubia. He startled his enemies with aggressive tactics, effectively using ships to transport his men, supplies, and
Alright, so that's what you got. So we watch a little bit of that. But as we've seen, we're learning more about what the Egyptian warriors were doing back then. It takes a lot of effort and practice to win each war. Right? This one was the Egyptian war. But if you type in Egyptian war of what happened back then, Wikipedia to find out. I didn't read it and know it on Wikipedia. I can't just blur it out like that. But I might, because I really don't know about the history of Egypt. Explaining it to you guys. What Egypt is all about. Egypt is all about the mummy, the gods, the pyramid, what they made like back then, because that's all I know about Egypt is the pyramid. I know it's the desert of Africa. It's the desert of Africa. And let's see. So 10 things you should know about Egyptian armies, 10 things. Let's see. So let's read it together. 10 things you should know about Egyptian armies of the New Kingdom. So these are the Egyptian armies, right? They're coming aggressively to their enemies. They know like terrorists are attacking their country, so that's why they build weapons for protection. They build a lot of weapons, traditional weapons, to use it for battle and kill their enemies with it. I can tell you that pretty much, but let's read this topic, this paragraph, this whole paragraph right here. The New Kingdom of Egypt, roughly corresponding to the pyramid between 16th century BC and 11th century BC. Compassing to the 18th and 19th and 20th descendants of Egypt, is often viewed as the ancient Egyptian equivalent of the empire. and while such as perception of subsyphilic, especially given the complex particle kind of the time. There is no doubt that during the New Kingdom phase, Egypt reached its greatest territorial extent. The empire fueled by the imperialistic parallaxes and intimidated by the session of the powerful far willers, and as such Egypt reached its commercial as well as military peak. Specifically, the New Kingdom of Egypt was also perceived as the native power at broke and scalaxes of the foreign. What?
Did you hear the door?
I don't know.
Next time, please open it.
Stupid. I was also perceived as the native power that broke the shackles of the foreign Hercules' rule during the second Epimenate period. These rulers in turn proceed on the corner regions and retain vessels beyond the traditional barriers of the kingdom, including ancient Nubise, Libya, and Syria. Considering all these historical factors, we have chosen the New Kingdom of Egypt among all ancient Egyptian authorities. To showcase its military oriented prowess. So without further ado, let us take a jumble to 10 incredible things you should know about ancient Egypt armies of the New Kingdom. The Supreme Warlord. This is the Supreme Warlord. I can see that's the statues of it. I'll tell you these things. This is the world's oldest statue in history. The world's oldest. This is the world's oldest statue. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me. The world's oldest statue. Much like the modern office of American President Theophil, the ancient Egypt realm is considered as the head of the state, as well as the supreme commander of armed forces. But unlike his modern-day counterpart, the Pharaoh also boosted absolute control over his kingdom, resources, and administrative sector. Such an incredible scope of willing and unlimited power was complemented by the Orpheus association with divine entities, and such as various ancient Egyptian inscriptions in North. In photography, especially from 18 and 19 dynasties, pyramid, depict Ethiopians in the style of the sun god. Some of these particles even project of the associations, or what the hell is that word? As incarnations of the god of war and Lothir Mandu, falcon god, or as personifications of Egypt itself. Suffice it to say the Pharaohs was the most important figure of the state machinery of ancient Egypt, and thus he was provided with the military education benefiting the supreme commander of the empire. This training for empire often imparted the state appointed veterans, not only included physical regiminations and weapons handling, but also in intel lessons to tactical and static planning, with the latter of the far more important of the military for military competitions, whatever it is, and documented events improving the Philadelphia epitomized the spearhead of the ancient Egypt army with his elite chorat crops, thus suggesting how the rulers of the examples of Memphis II and Ramoses II took particular pride in manufacturings, so chariots, handling blows proceed as a weapon of esteem, and personality leading the armies in battle, and on the other side of the proverbial coin, much like their Assyrian contemporaries, the Egyptian state was overly dependent on its ruler. Consequently, the weak ruler usually mirrored the bad time faced by the empire. Through luckily, in case of Egypt, many new kingdom for Theosius exhibit their strong willing of leadership. The ancient industry of war. All these boys. So this is what they was doing. I couldn't see they fought, and I don't know who they fought, who they were conflict against. Their conflict was against the other warriors that tried to, steal or, whatever, or try to kill them, or try to attack them. Like, I don't know. That's what their conflict was about. And you can see them right there in the picture. One of them are dying. They have a lot of bow and arrows, swords, spears, and they're getting ready for the attack. Fatal kill. They're looking for fatal kill on their enemies. And that's a strong way to defeat your enemy. It's for a easy, instantly fatal kill. And it's not easy to win a war when you have lots of enemies around. You need armies to win that war. It takes years to win that war. You need a lot of army. You need like at least a good amount, millions of soldiers around you, helping you fight this war. And that's what they were doing. They were fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting for many years until we have a winner. until one of them had a winner of the war. I hate to read a lot of these paragraphs, but I'm going to continue reading. Opposing the forces at Battle of Corridorius, Circia, 1274 BC. This happened in 1274 BC when they was fighting. The battle of what's it called? Cadidesh. Battle of Cadidesh. Yeah, Battle of Cadidesh. And this happened around 1274 BC. 1274 BC. The ancient Egyptian armies from Circia was the 16th and 11th century BC were sustained by the army. It was sustained by the army oh my goodness, this word, or Hantiated state machinery of the new kingdom. For example, Amapios I, the founder of the 18th dynasty, reigning 1549 and to 1524 BC, reorganized his band of warriors into full-fledged standing army of the late Bronze Age. By this time, many soldiers were actually derived from specific warrior cases, which in turns the hints of the societal solution for the professional, or at least semi-professional army. Now, of course, beyond just the scope of the manpower, the fur field also had Ethiopia, his newly formed army, and that is where the state of running industries entered into the equation, and that regard the large number of bronze weapons like the frame at the Koyakish were swords and arrowheads. They use arrowheads. That was born arrow. So they use swords and arrowheads to fight. They use swords and arrowheads to fight each other. That's a tough one. Could only be simplified by the proper organized army and infrastructure. These industries often entailed in an interconnected network of gathering extermination centers of the raw materials. Storage for weapons manufacturing. The descended workshops for producing defensive equipment like shields and chartrets and dockyards of crafting ships and boats. It's interesting here enough, the Egyptians even went on the create state of founded stud farms and grazing grounds for horses and that were needed for chart riots. My goodness. Yeah. These highly prized animals were also taken as tributes through vassals based levying from defeating enemies and battles. Simply put, the ancient Egyptian army looked forth to conquer and integrate the territories of ancient Syria and Nubia, Syria and Nubia in the bid of the type into resources provided by such rich regions, thus fueling the sacred scope of warfare and economy. The massive Egyptian military structure. This is the Egyptian Empire. Wow, 15th century BC, and this is where it all started. What? Egyptian next to Arabia. These are the ancient civilization territories right here. It's almost right by Greece. I'm not sure. Now this is the civilization of the time. Mesopotamia, we have Assyria, Hittite Empire. We have Arabia, Egyptian Empire right here, under Egyptian influence. So these are the ancient civilizations right here. It reminds me about Greek. It reminds me about the Greek Empire. But this is where it all started, Egypt. And we have Libwaya something. Source of ancient history. Encyclopedia. I can see why they were building all these weapons to get ready for the other battles. These are their territories, and whoever came to their land, their country, to try and attack it, they know who to fight, and they know who to kill. But there are different kinds of territories in this world. Different kinds. If they have conflict with another one, they will fight the other one. If they had a conflict, it's just like the Peloponnesian War, where they had conflict between the Athens and the Spartans, and it seems to me what happens, the Spartan won the war. That's what happened. The Spartan won that huge war. When I was making the video game, Batch Wars with Record Survival Sim, it knows that this is what really happened in the ancient civilization times, in the ancient warfare. Because you saw one of my clips, you saw one of my Back Wars videos, and mixed with mixed with the ancient warfare Record Survival Sim. You know, that's what it reminds me of. It was too appealing. I put out a kind of music that goes with it, because it looked like that. It looked like the old time, the very, very, very old time. The world's oldest times. Yeah, the world's oldest times in ancient warfare. And it happens to be the ancient warfare. Before modern warfare. In ancient warfare, there wasn't no electronics around. They had to make a lot of woods and rocks and stones to survive. They had to make sculptures, houses, places, almost tents. You know, they had to make lots of things. And hard work, ain't it? That's what happened. Hard work. You make like a cabin with wood, like the Ice Age. But that's what happened. But back then, there was no electronics. None of it. They had to make a lot of things without... They had to make it with sand and rocks and wood. You know. Steel for weapons. So, in ancient times, it was not easy for the people that were struggling in this war. And I can see why I wasn't born in the time. None of us wasn't born yet, and all these type of wars back then came out. Happened, like the Egyptian War, the Peloponnesian War, the Trojan War. Almost the Civilization War, I think that's in Mesopotamia, ancient Mesopotamia. So we wasn't even born when the war happened. Egypt is all about the mummy and wars. Let's see if I can read all the rest of these. Right here. coming back and reading the rest of the paragraph. Let's read this few lines and we're gonna still talk about more and read and look up more about videos and learn more about really what happened of ancient Egypt. I wanted to read more, but I have to make you do Greek mythology. Let's read this one. As can be comprehended from the dedicated avenues of the standing the ancient Egyptian army of the new kingdom and the empire took its military force and its relative static scope quite seriously. The structure of the military nomination Striction. Couldn't understand that word. Mirrored such a predictive outlook. The main Garcian headquarters established in the north and south of Egypt and Memphis tribes, respectively. By the time the great Messias II, there were four military headquarters spread across the Ethiopian Egyptian empire, with each named after the god of region, while be commanded by the chosen senior officers of the army. Egyptian. Now I'm gonna read a little bit about the Greek mythology. I won't have time just about yet. Let's look at a video about the Greek mythology. So we can just look at that for now. Because soon I'm going to make a philosophy about Greek mythology again.
were the lords of heaven and earth.
Greek god.
Protectors of the
Oh, this
sea,
is,
patrons of sexual
I
pleasures,
think,
and
Titans.
instigators
I
of
don't know.
war.
I don't know what's the other one.
They were the mighty Greek gods who were said to reign atop
Can't make
Mount
you look
Olympus,
because
the highest peak in all of Greece. Their
the
names
screen
are
is gonna
almost
be
as
so
familiar today as they were thousands
small.
of years ago. Names such as Zeus, Poseidon, Apollo, and Aphrodite. In ancient times, these gods were woven into tales of adventure, heroism, and sexual conquests. Yet without a permanent home in their own Bible, Torah, or Quran, were these gods part of a lost religion, or merely characters written into fables now known as Greek mythology?
I think the Greek gods are just as real as any other gods in other religions. They are different, but they are just as real, and they were just as real to the people who worship them.
The ancient Greeks, who symbolized the essence of logic and reason, also claimed that they had actual encounters with these unworldly beings. Mortal women claimed to have borne the sons of gods. Countless others testified that the gods cured them of terminal diseases. Were the stories of man's encounters with these Greek gods
Peloponnesian.
simply the imaginings of a superstitious society, or were they based on historical events? And what remains of their shrines and the cults that performed sacrifices to honor these supreme deities?
Reminds me about the Peloponnesian War. Somehow. So the picture of the
The origins
Spartans.
of the Greek gods were handed
Spartans
down by
and
colorful storytellers, Greek art, and through the ancient poet Homer, whose classic books, the Iliad and the Odyssey, captured the tremendous powers of these alluring divinities. Since the beginning of time, cultures and religions around the world have tried to explain the origins of man's existence. According to Greek legend, the first rulers of the earth were the Titans, Cyclops, and Giants. Kronos and Rhea, the Titans who were the children of Mother Earth, were said to have given birth to the future rulers of the ancient world: Demeter, Hestia, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. Kronos, fearing he would one day lose power to one of his children, began devouring them one by one. When his wife Rhea, who was also his sister, gave birth to their sixth child, she deceived her husband by giving him a swaddled stone in place of their son. Kronos ate the stone. Their sixth child, who was named Zeus, was saved. When Zeus matured, he sought revenge against his father. He forced Kronos to swallow a secret potion, which made him vomit up the children he had devoured. Zeus's sisters and brothers were miraculously reborn. As a result, the powerful siblings joined forces to wage war against their father and his Titan brothers. In the infamous Battle of the Titans, Kronos and his brothers were bound in chains and hurled into oblivion. Zeus and his siblings were proclaimed the guardians of the universe and were given special powers. Zeus was crowned the supreme ruler of gods and mortals. He was given the powerful thunderbolt of lightning as his weapon of war.
Mortals and
According
gods.
to the ancient Greeks, these divinities made their home on the highest summit in northern Greece, called Mount Olympus. There they feasted on a delectable food called ambrosia and drank a liquid called nectar. Although they possessed human frailties, it was said they would never die. No mortals dared venture to the top of Mount Olympus, but the supreme divinities often ventured down from their mountainous kingdom and were said to mingle and sometimes meddle with the lives of mortals. According to legend, they took human form and displayed mortal weaknesses. But within a moment's notice, they could transform into a bird, a tree, or a violent storm.
Of all the gods, Zeus exhibited the most grandeur. According to the earliest records, ancient Greeks prayed to him for good luck to take vengeance on their enemies or end a drought. Such esteem led many Greeks to claim that they were divine descendants of Zeus.
When Zeus interacts with mortals, it's primarily he's a kind of celestial Don Giovanni. I mean, it's primarily in the form of amorous conquest.
Zeus was said to have had a sexual appetite for mortal women as well as goddesses. But the attentions of Zeus seemed more a source of pride than of shame.
They seemed to think that this was wonderful because it meant that they would give birth to a child who would live, who would be significant, who would be important, who would be strong, and look after them.
Zeus's philandering infuriated his wife Hera, who was the protector of marriage and family. As a result, she took revenge on his lovers. Mortal men, on the other hand, followed Zeus's example by making it legal to take up mistresses and seek out prostitutes. Zeus was held in...
And so I only watch a little bit. So I'll tell you when I'm going to make more about Greek mythology on the next philosophy of Johnny Nobise World History, Johnny Nobise History Channel, or Johnny Nobise Old School and History Channel. Yeah. I wanted to read more about this, about ancient Egypt, but my device is going to die. So, thanks for watching. Have you learned about the things that I told you about this philosophy of ancient Egypt today? Now you just let me know in the comment section. And thank you for watching this philosophy about ancient Egypt and a little bit of the Greek mythology and ancient Egypt. Mostly about the philosophy of ancient Egypt. But it's really interesting to learn about this philosophy, about this history story, and what happened to these warriors. But thanks for watching this whole philosophy. And I'll see you next time in the next philosophy. Good night and goodbye.